Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome back to the stream. It's me, DIGI, and no, your eyes are not deceiving you. We are actually doing DevOps for Microsoft Flight Simulator, or what is now essentially the classic FS 2020. So, this came after the inspiration of probably more than a few other, we'll call them stream check-ins, where some folks got curious about or were otherwise interested in seeing me do the things for scenery dev, and also myself. I mean, I've been away from scenery dev for a little while. I've been trying to get myself set up and established, ready to go back into scenery dev mode. And if I can be transparent, I was essentially kind of sort of ducking getting back in. And I think the only way to describe it is if you are the kind of person I am, where you kind of want to do something, but you start to get really like all over the place, and you start thinking to yourself, well, there's so many people doing scenery dev, my stuff sucks, blah blah blah. You get to a point where you really question your capacity to do anything. And if you're a budding scenery developer, if you're interested in making airports, even if the only thing you want to do is just build your own airport for Microsoft Flight Sim, not because you want to make money, just because you want to fly out of the airport that you created, and you feel overwhelmed, intimidated, and you don't know how to start, this stream is for you. Let's start. I mean, I've already started, but all I've spent, I feel like, for the past like year and a half is just basically put down parking lines on a parking lot for a regional airport that I don't even have default buildings on right now. And that's because I spent the time before that trying to clean up and customize the textures and the layouts for places like this. Well, for this airport, so that, for example, when you fly in, you'll see more or less what the runway markings actually look like. Like, I took a good chunk of time to try to get this set up the way it was supposed to be set up, and there's still room for growth. And I have like parking lots and places where I've saved the ground markings, or at least not the ground markings, the ground setup. And this is like, first time me here in a long time, because for one, I haven't actually done FS 2020 scenery dev in a while after I finished a different airport, Mike 25, which is an airport in southwestern Kentucky. And also, again, just this desire that I have to create the scenery, or to finish working on the scenery. It's strong. Like, you get to a point where you're just like, can I be done already? But it's mostly because I'm just trying to get done, because I want to see something that's finished. But all these things that I did, all these places that I put down, for example, you know, extra extra trees, extra or more well-defined um, lake effect stuff. Like this takes time, and just like I have to give myself the capacity or the patience to understand, hey, this takes a while to do. You know, take some time yourself to consider that this is actually not going to be a quick build. And believe me, I've tried speedrunning scenery dev before. It takes a while to do. But today I think we're going to focus primarily on the parking lot again, because there's plenty of lines that I need to paint, and we're going to do what we can. We're going to do what we can, and we're going to enjoy ourselves here as much as we can, as long as we can. We're going to enjoy ourselves. Now, I've made multiple groups of parking lines, and with as much decorum as I can, I'm going to start again and continue. I need a painted line. That's right. And we'll take default. I can do this. So I think I'm going to do this. And now we have a painted line. And we're going to put this into a separate group. I think this is going to be group 16. But again, welcome everybody, especially if you are watching live. Also, welcome if you're watching on the replay because you're really curious and you're trying to follow me along. Um, Thank you. Thanks for stopping by. The reason why I have separate groups is because I can turn those groups off and on if I want to over the course of me actually creating an airport. So we're going to make a new group for this, and I think we're going to do group 16. Group 16, there we go. There's my painted line. Now we're going to get a Sobo paint and assign the paint rough to the materials so we can get it looking like that. And then we're going to do that about, you know, a whole bunch more times. And if we have to, we'll take some of these cars and move them in just to get an idea for how these parking lot lines should be placed. I suspect I'm going to need to angle this slightly. So we will do that. I also suspect that I'm probably not going to be as successful with these lines as I'd like to. However, you know what? We're going to be making mistakes up and down all the way, so might as well get comfortable making mistakes now because it's a part of the process. Now what I can do is probably copy this entire line. But before I do that, let me see. Yeah, yeah. I think I stopped trying to give these painted lines a name and just group them because I think it's just going to be faster or easier for me not to spend so much time thinking about what to call them. So I can duplicate this, and since we're inside the same group, I can move this down. Now, what I can probably do is move these cars around and see what spacing is going to look like. And it looks like these parking spaces are kind of narrow. Fortunately, fortunately, I don't have to think very hard about this. I'm not the one who's parking their car here. So I can, in theory, just make the parking lines as wide or as narrow as I want to. I could even ignore the satellite imagery. And the reason you can see this is because I've hidden the texture that I'm using for the ground cover here, and we're going to just use the satellite imagery to help me place these parking spaces down, and we're going to do this one step at a time. Now, before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this line one more time because this needs to go up here, I think. And I'm going to use this car as a reference point, so I could probably just duplicate it and move it over. And then basically I can move this down here and figure out how wide these spaces are going to be because this is going to be a kind of like no parking area. But there we go. Um, Let me chew on this for a little bit. And right now, this is going to be a really relaxed stream. I might not say anything for a little while, but I will be here in case you have questions. I'm going to go quiet for a little bit, so BRB. Okay, I'm back. Let's get going here. Lyles, thank you. Good afternoon. Um, I will do my best, sir. It is gonna be a bit tricky because the satellite photo is grainy for sure, and this is older technology. We're not dealing with FS 2024. This is the older sim. Book of Gaming, hello, my friend. So happy to see you here. It's a blessing having you with me. God bless you. Love your soul, my friend. Thank you, Lyles and Book of Gaming. And of course, anybody lurking or watching this on a replay, please forgive me for my lack of manners. Both Lyles and Book of Gaming are friends of the channel as well as streamers themselves. Lyles underscore VT does RPG gaming a lot on stream, and Book of Gaming is my fellow brother in Christ, a Christian streamer that does got the world record for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 arcade game NES cartridge, currently holding the world record time, and brought it to Super Games Done Quick for the very first time this year. So, in great company. Feel free to follow both of these folks for themed content and, again, just privilege having them both here. But yeah, yeah, we're we're packing them in today. We're packing them in. I'm trying to get the lines to be decent, but I'm not going to be good. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, Book. It's a privilege having you here. You don't even understand. Like having folks hang out with and to shoot the breeze with in terms of like doing the stream on scenery development. Scenery development is definitely not something that you would flock to spend a lot of time looking at, going, whoa, like the paint dries instantly. You could move the lines around. No, people like to see flight sim streamers. People like to see people playing video games. So if you're here and you're watching me put parking lot lines down on an airport in Louisiana, then you either deliberately want to be here or you are awful curious about scenery development. In either case, thank you. So, welcome. Welcome. Um, we're getting through this slowly. So, I'm not expecting to be done with this today. And I'm also kind of happy to see that I can actually open the project and continue to work on it uh, because I'm kind of surprised that I can actually access this with the newer version of the SDK. Unless, of course, the sim actually lets me use the older SDK that I have for FS 2020 in place of FS 2024. So what you're saying is you make watching paint dry fun. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't, you know, I don't think it could have been said any better. You literally nailed it. This is this is like, instantly watching paint dry that you can move along the ground wherever. But basically, scenery development is usually best enjoyed when it's done. When people can actually go and you know catch an airport that's been released, it's usually because they want to say something like, oh wow, like somebody just released this airport, we're checking it out, cool. But usually the process of building an airport is way less what's the phrase, enthralling, way less. So yeah, that y'all are here hanging out with me is good. It's good, guy. Okay. So we're going to have this bump here. Eventually, I'm going to create 3D objects that basically cover the walkways and everything. Um, but I need to basically get the paint lines down so I can figure out where everybody's going to be, and then we'll do all this. Now, I think okay. I'm not going to think about the road right now. I need to basically focus on continuing to make these lines. Then that will be the last line for that piece, that portion, and then we will keep going. We are at Lafayette Regional Airport, which is a regional airport in Louisiana. I'd probably say it's about an hour, an hour and a half away from like downtown New Orleans. New Orleans, probably 20 to 20, like 20 minutes by plane. If you're taking like a shuttle from New Orleans to Lafayette, and you don't want to go to Baton Rouge, this is probably where you go. Something to that end. That's my guess anyway. So let's go ahead and move this here, and we'll figure out what to do. Okay, this one's a bit wide, and you want to know what? That's fine. Yeah, the best way to finish something is just to go good enough and not go, you know, wall out bananas. So we'll move N group 2 down here. And now I don't have to make all the other markings that I normally would, and I can just focus on getting these built. So we will make this N group 2, and we'll start filling it in. That one you. Oh, just to give you guys an update, since some of you have probably been thinking of me and Mrs. Digi and sending well wishes and prayers to us, to my fellow brothers and sisters in Christ, would certainly appreciate your continued prayer support as Mrs. Digi is continuing to recover from her recent procedure. To all those that don't know, I took her recently to get a procedure done to help her with her continuing mobility issues. She basically was taken. I took her to a place for a procedure, which basically is going to give her body the boost from its own natural systems to see if it can fix the problems that she's been having for the past few years, actually several years at this point. And the recovery, we were told ahead of time what the recovery was going to be like, and it looks like it's playing to that exactly. Unfortunately, what that means is it's very hard for her. She's dealing with a lot of natural response from the body, which is basically making it hard for her to move around a lot, and it's a bit worse. Actually, right now it's pretty worse than it was before. So it's part of the recovery process, and it's not easy. It's not easy. I wish I was in a better position to care for her. I wish I was in a better position to make it very easy, provide whatever it is that she needs. I'm not in the best spot financially myself, but you want to know what? The lessons that we've been learning and the challenges that we've been facing together, down to the penny, are going to turn into great stories someday. Exactly when and exactly how, I'm not sure, but it's not something that I'm going to worry about. Move that into there. There we go. So now I can take N group 2 and turn it into N group 3. And, if you'll notice, what I'm doing is I'm basically building these out. Now, what I should probably do is wrap the back end of it like I do the front, so it looks prettier. And that's actually good. I'll do the same thing with N group 1, and then we can call it. And some people might come in and see me working on parking lines for an airport for Microsoft Flight Simulator and go, dude, why are you wasting so much time putting lines down for a parking area that we'll never see from the tarmac because we're just gonna be flying to the airport. To me, the entire experience I'm trying to model as best as I can. So by doing this, I want to make something where the work put in is evident. So yeah, that's me, man. Like, I think this is something that I want to go for and really strive to do well. You know, work as if for the Lord, not for human masters. And I'll admit, coming back into scenery dev, especially doing something as seemingly mundane and tedious as this, you can be tempted so easily to be like, oh my goodness, this is just like, is this so like I just want to be done because I just want to see the airport, and like I just want this to look better and I don't want to do a lot of work. It's like I said before at the beginning, if you're interested in doing scenery development and you just feel like you can't even get started, I'm here to tell you, you can do it. You can get started, or you can get back into it if you haven't been involved in it for a while, and it can turn out to be something amazing. Or you can try it for a little while and you can basically discover, hey, this is not for me. This is really tedious. I don't like this. I just like buy somebody else's stuff and be happy. And some people are happy with that, and that's fine. And that's fine. I I'm the kind of person that if I commit to doing something, I want to do my level best to finishing the task and leaving something nice for people to actually have, so that when they look at it, they can see the effort that went into finishing or accomplishing the project. It's like, uh, some people might say, well, like, um, why are you working on this? Like, do you not know how much effort this is going to take people? It's like, I do. I know how much effort it's taking me, but I think that's part of the picture. Doing something such that you, I don't know, leave a legacy, or you just don't, you show people how much effort it takes to actually do something worthwhile. And by the way, folks, whether you're watching live or on the replay, if you're doing your best to live your life right now and you're not having the best day, and it's rough and you're just not sure what to do with your life, I want you to know that, um, I'm thinking of you, and I pray that you have a moment's rest and that you can actually relax for a moment. I am a Christian streamer. I believe in a personal relationship with God through Jesus Christ, and I'm very much a believer in people having that relationship and having that ability to live life. And some people might be like, well, I don't care about that stuff, or like, that's not real. And for me, it is. I genuinely believe in it, and I choose it. And if you have questions about it, all I can tell you is basically, we were made for more. We were made to live a life in an upward calling, which is, incredible. But some of us don't do that. Some of us settle for less than best because we're tired, because we don't know how to live. We don't know whether or not what we do means anything to anybody. And we just try to get from one end of the day to the other, and we're just like leave me alone. But I can tell you, based on my life, that if I didn't have God helping me get through the rough stuff in my life, I don't know. Like, I just would have felt crummy, horrible. I would have been snapping at people. I would have been complaining and arguing. It's like, huh, like this, everything sucks. Like, this is horrible. I mean, sheesh, sometimes I do that now. But the difference is, I understand. I have a hope for now and for the life to come through Jesus Christ. And that's my position of faith. That's my belief. And if that's not what you want to hear, or if that's not what you believe in, then I welcome you, regardless of who you are or what you believe in. And I pray that you genuinely have a great day. But at the same time, this is what I believe in, and I really do believe it's the truth. A relationship with God through Jesus Christ is basically the only way that I feel living life is meaningful or possible in my case. So this is where I'm at, and for better or for worse, it's where I'm staying. Now, with that said, we're clearing stuff slowly, one step at a time. Let me get some slightly bigger vehicles and see just how cramped we can make these spaces. I kind of like painting these lines, and I, as much as I don't like having the vehicles be like slightly crooked or stuff, there's a really big kind of like human touch here that, in my opinion, makes it feel like you're actually in a space where someone actually tried painting lines, with a unit, with a vehicle, or by hand, because they're not perfect. And if the lines were perfect, that probably, it might make you go, well, this seems a little weird. Because imperfection is the place where most of us live anyway. That's my perspective anyway. So, one line at a time, one step at a time. I'll probably play it for a little bit longer, and then we'll see where we are like in the next, like, half an hour to 45 minutes. Maybe I'll go flying, maybe I'll play a different game altogether. But thank you for being a part of this today, and for spending a little bit of time with me on stream. And we will see what comes of the present circumstance. I can say I am definitely enjoying this season. Weather's getting colder. The trees are just colored so wonderfully. And literally, I think after this weekend, we're going to start shifting into even colder temperatures. And then the colors are going to start going away, because it's just going to get really, really, really cold. And then stuff's just going to start getting more and more bare until we're really in the cold cycle. And we, just wake up in the morning, and the people that actually drive into work, they have to like sit in their car for a little while for it to warm up. So, hot chocolate and family dinners and all the things, that's going to become reality for a lot of people. Okay, good enough. Take this and move it down. I was having a conversation with who was it that I was talking to? Oh, Commodore Chronicles. I was just thinking about how video games used to be. You didn't have the opportunity to create your own content for video games in the past. Like, you kind of still don't. You have to have a computer to create your own content. But what I'm saying is, I was just thinking about video gaming in general and how when you in the olden times, you had video games. You had to sit down in front of a TV to play. There was no internet. You would basically have one, two, three, or four controllers, and then basically you would just like sit with your friends, play, and you would just like socialize and stuff. Or one of my favorite points of view was you would have to try to beat the game while you had it, because if you were like me, you were renting games from a local video rental place. You rent movies, you rent video games. Some of them would let you rent video game systems, and you were trying to make the most of your time. I know I was. Oh, yeah, that's good. We'll make where's the SUV? Can I find one real fast? Yes, one right there. Not exactly a parking lot. Well, this is a parking lot, but not the best car spacing, but this is my first attempt to try to make this look realistic. And the places where I'm placing the lines are mostly driven by what I actually could get from satellite imagery. But I mean, I know I like parking in places where it's a lot easier to put space between yourself and whatever vehicles are there. So let me think. These lines are a little bit, just a little bit off kilter, but we'll do what we can. And sometimes some people park slightly over. So, yeah, there's that. So far, so good. I installed a new software development kit for Flight Simulator 2024, and I'm using it right now in FS 2020. So, I don't know how compatible it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to work at all. I don't know if I'm going to try to save it and the file's going to get corrupted, but I'm hoping that it saves as normal because I don't want to lose all this progress. I'm going to feel bad if I do. I do have a saved backup somewhere that's a few versions old, so I'm probably going to lose some progress if I have to go back to that version, but I'm not going to lose the entire project, which is at least is going to be a good thing. I want to get this done for my friends and for those people that have actually actively supported the development. So I don't want to let them down. I don't want to let myself down, but I definitely don't want to let them down. I might actually get back to doing a half an hour to an hour of this as many evenings as I can, because I think when I was doing that, it it was fairly consistent, and summative aggregate experience. Like, you knock it out a little bit each day, each day, each day, and just like, look at that, like, look at how many lines we put down so far now. It doesn't look like we made a lot of progress, but we did make progress. Eric Flight, my friend, welcome aboard. Happy to have you. Thanks for coming out of lurk if you were lurking, or for stopping by. We are at Lafayette Regional in FS 2020, and I'm laying some lines down. If you're curious, this is what the place looks like. I've also unloaded a lot of the world updates and scenery, so this will hopefully help me move a little bit faster in here to finish this FS 2020 project, which should be 100% compatible with FS 2024, barring some satellite imagery displacement issues. And then you can just drop it into the community folder in 2024, and you'll have the same airport. Only difference is that the materials might behave slightly differently, but we'll see what happens. Thank you for stopping by, my friend. Folks, if you don't know my friend Eric Flight, he also likes to stream flight sim, flying general aviation aircraft, has done a few interesting series of flights, and also reviews flight sim content, like actual products. So, Eric Flight, if you want to, feel free to put down a link to your channel on YouTube and your recent review of this new thing called pilot controlled lighting. That night lighting add-on is getting better. Nice. And so they aligned satellite imagery. Well, that's good, especially if it means that I don't have to worry about alignment issues anymore. But yeah, this is the parking lot that I'm working on. The other satellite imagery where I don't have anything is what needs to be filled in yet. And once I get the ground stuff laid out, I can work on the 3D objects, which are going to go over it, and then work on the terminal, and then work on the tarmac. Fortunately, most of the tarmac's actually done. I just need to make the tarmac more lived in, put more dirt, stuff like that. And this taxiway, this piece here, this actually did not exist in the original satellite imagery. I think this was a recent add-on, and excuse me, the the Navigraph charts show it differently, show it otherwise. So it's my first time crafting something that doesn't even exist yet, so I have to think about it. This is what existed before, so I might try to obscure this with some more grass or something. And there's a difference now. Like, you go here, that's the actual airline terminal, and you go here, that's GA. But I've obscured a lot of the GA buildings because I'm going to try to, replace them. I might bring the defaults back. I don't know. This is something that I'm going to release as freeware before I start focusing purely on Flight Sim 2024. But it's my swan song, so to speak. Otherwise, I think I'm going to start moving my stuff into, not moving my stuff, but starting over from scratch in 2024. So there you go. I got some more lines to put down here, and then we're going to see what happens. I'm probably going to work on the top lines across the top portion. Might take a break in 20 or 30 minutes and decide whether or not I want to make more scenery on stream, or take a break and go trucking or flying, or do something totally different. But let me save. Looks like I can actually save my work, which is good. And that's good. I can deal. But yeah, like, I'm legit serious. I mean, scenery dev, people like scenery dev when it's done, and sometimes it's hard to understand or imagine how much work it takes to actually build something. So you're getting a taste of it right now if you're actually watching or watching the replay. It takes time. It takes a lot of um, attention to detail. In the future, like, is it going to be easier to do certain things more quickly? Possibly, It depends, and I think there's also some templates that you can actually use to lay parking lines down, but at the same time, um, those are templates, those are like generics, so you might not have the ability to do the same kind of stuff that I'm doing right now reliably. Um, oh, very nice. Congratulations. Well done, sir. Well done. But at the same time, half is better than zero. And less than half is better than zero. Anything is better than zero. And it's cool that you are taking, reprising the mantle again. That's nice. Let me grab which car? That one. No, not the line. The car. There we go. Duplicate the car and move it over there. I wish I got more stuff done on a regular basis, but usually, you know, it takes time to do this stuff. I really need to keep drilling that in my head. Like, it takes weeks, months to create a scenery. Yeah, I think there are points where virtually every scenery dev is like, this is like so tedious. It sucks. And then, you finally get done, it's released, and people are going, oh my goodness, he painted the arrows on the road. Nobody does that. It's like you get this, you get this perpetual dosage of dopamine because people are actually like whatchamacallit, saying, oh, this is great, this is great, and you're like, I want to build a business off of this. Conveniently ignoring the past couple of weeks or months of work that you've done. And then you jump back into it and you're like, why am I here? It's kind of like software development in a way. In a way. And that's the funny part. You get to a place where you're like, you bounce back and forth between saying stuff like, oh, like I can do this. And then you're like, why am I doing this? So yes, yes, definitely a real thing. So let me duplicate this. I'll move this down to the bottom. There we go. I gotta move this down. My friend, thank you so much for thinking of me. I'm honestly humbled that you would even mention that. Seriously. Like it's an honor. It's a privilege to do this. If I could do this professionally full time, then I'd have a different set of tools and options to start working on stuff like this on a regular basis. But man, like seriously, it thank you for thinking of me. It's appreciated. When I started doing airport sceneries and actually making airports for folks to fly out of, those initial dopamine hits where they said stuff like, oh man, I can't believe somebody made an airport that I trained in. Like, thank you so much. It's like, that's the kind of stuff that makes you go, dude, I want to do this for the rest of my life. And while it may or may not be possible, there's enough of a creator in me that says, no, we're going to keep doing this. We're going to make another one. And that's just because it's not just that I like the thrill of the finished product, it's also that I like being able to create something for somebody. Yeah, and believe it or not, like you're you may be closer to me in skill set than you think. Like this is hard because it takes a long time, but it's also not that bad because it's accessible. You're literally clicking in places, creating objects, putting them down. What's irritating is the amount of time you have to spend. to do stuff, to include custom objects through things like Blender, for example. Yes, Blender is kind of cool, but at the same time, it's complicated. And I'm probably going to be doing some quiet streams in the near future where I start creating the objects because obviously I'm going to need to create the covered walkways that you don't see but they actually exist here, so that you can actually so you can actually you know walk from the parking lot to the terminal without being too exposed to the elements. And building models is not easy. It's excuse me, it's not always 100% fun. You have to spend time deliberately thinking about dimensions, textures, behaviors. For example, when I build scenery for FS 2024 in the near future, again, I'm going to have to start considering things like collision detection on top of levels of detail. So, for example, if I start working on Warrensburg, which is KRCM, which is the second airport that I made for FS 2020, then I'm going to have to start thinking about scenery objects and stuff like that. And that's good. I strive to make my sceneries not use anybody else's libraries, but at the same time, I also strive to create things that are picturesque. So I don't know. My position on scenery libraries may change in the near future. I'm not totally sure yet. Okay, let's build another line. Actually, I'm kind of curious. Let me hit the build all button and see if I actually crash my sim. Let's go. All right. It's either going to work or it's going to fail. If it fails, it might be because of the fact that I installed a new SDK for FS 2024. You needed the people library. Okay. You were not going to build people. Yeah, yeah. I think if I start putting people in scenery, then yeah, I'm gonna use someone else's library, or I'm going to actually incorporate that somehow. How exactly? I don't know, because I've never dealt with I've never dealt with bundling libraries in in code. Maybe I'll get good at making people. Just keep adding on if you build people. Yeah, yeah, and that's either the first or the second time that I've thought about doing that, because if I build a person, what I might do is I might actually build 2D models first, because on the one hand, if you are going through an airport, you just want to see people. You might not necessarily care if they're 3D, but if I can build 3D people, so much the better. But again, it's going to take a good chunk of discipline, and then you can use them over and over again. Yeah, I guess I'd have to figure out how to get good at making libraries or incorporating libraries. So that would be my next step, or just sidestep the whole thing, make all my own objects myself. Use no people, and then let your imagination run wild. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take time, and if I choose to do so, then yes, it's going to be a great adventure. It's going to take time for me to do, but at the same time, could be great. Group 17, please. Let's go. Like, I remember when I felt like, hey, I could do this for a living. And then I turned a corner, and like a couple of months later, I was like, I'm scared. Like, there's so much to do and there's so much competition, which is why I like going back to doing this for fun right now, because it's survivable that way. Like, if I know something else is making me money to pay my bills, then I can keep approaching this from the perspective of, hey, this is just something I'm doing for fun. And then when I get good enough that I know everything to do with it, then I can do it again for money. And I did do some stuff for profit over the past, couple of years. So it can be done. It's just that, if you're otherwise like blown away by it, it'll take you a little bit of time, but you can get there. You can actually get there. So again, it's not something I'm going to worry about. I want to get back to doing all the things and having fun and not going bananas. Because, I burned out on like work the past like year and a half, and not scenery dev. I'm just talking about IRL stuff. And if you can't, if you're having difficulty wrapping your head around stuff, it gets difficult to do life. And people pick up on that. I'm not saying, I'm talking about like when you get to a point where you're just like so frustrated with stuff that, you know people people are just like, they it's not that they don't know how to approach you. It's just that you get burnt out. And for me personally, you know people can see that. People saw the tired look on my face. People saw how I was, valiantly doing my best for stuff for work, and not really getting anywhere, and being like, wow, like, can't you figure out something else to do? It's like, I would like to, yes, but a lot of other people are in the same exact spot that I am, and it's like, well, life. So I get it. A Digi driver logo. Uh, Actually, believe it or not, Mrs. Digi's taken quite a few cracks at it in the past. There are some logos which I think I actually have in a drawer somewhere, including one with I think a 737 and a 757. Like, just a silhouette, just the outline. But yeah, happy weekend, you making me crazy. Hello, hello, welcome. Yeah, yeah, and I think a lot of us would. And to be honest with you, well, not to be honest, to be transparent with you, I think there's just a place right now where I need to be. I feel like I want to be an entrepreneur, and it's not because I want to make gobs of money. It's because I I understand that I'm going to need to care for my family, and I'm going to get to a place where eventually companies are going to say, well, you have lots of experience, but um like, we want somebody that's, more pliable, more able to do what we need them to do. Uh, to be a transparent automobile with you. Well, okay. Wonder Woman had the invisible jet, didn't she? So that's what made me think. I just thought about that when you mentioned that. Side job entrepreneur, and I think that's a great way to be. I think that's the way that most people probably should be, because you want to be in a place where you can be flexible enough, have the main income that you're going to have to take care of your family, and branch out. And for me, even if I never actually make as much money as I do with my IRL job, the side gigs are teachable moments. Like, they teach you a lot about other skills you can incorporate into other projects you do, other companies you work for, or you actually break out. It's like I told Mrs. DG, because she's an entrepreneur herself. Like, you just need to knock it out of the park one time, just once, and then boom. Like you're in a different stratosphere. You've got different amounts of things to do from a work or entrepreneurial perspective, but you're a different class at that point. Like you're off, and you are getting things in. I'd like to get there at some point. At least I think I would. Yeah, yeah, I would agree. I would agree. Um, Success is the dopamine hit that basically really, really drives you to keep going. And by the way, hello, my friend. Folks, please do me a favor. Follow Commodore Chronicles right away if you want classic content and references to and streams where Commodore Chronicles plays with old computer game systems, including the Tandy line of computers. And of course, he's a friend of the stream. And also, I think at some point I do want to get my pilot's license as well. Not because I want to be an airline pilot or a cargo pilot, but because I want to get, behind the controls of a plane and fly my family around. Love your soul, Commodore. Love your soul. God bless you. So, continuing to crank away with those parking lot lines. I tell you what, man, for a line painting stream, I've got a lot of people hanging out in chat. I'm so happy to have you guys here. Let's see. For about 4:30 right now. I'm gonna keep cranking on this until probably at least 5, and then we'll see where we stand. But this is neat. Having you guys here. Yeah, and I mean, here's the deal, okay? Like I I know I'm not gonna be an airline or cargo pilot unless Yahweh Elohim says differently. For me, the prospect is purely because I want to have something to do. I mean, being a private pilot is a very expensive hobby, no doubt. But I guess it would be a nice fallback if I couldn't be a software developer anymore and be like a cargo pilot or something, or like a tour pilot where I fly people around in, like, for example, Alaska. Thank you, my friend. And I might actually take you up on that in the very near future. Maybe even in the springtime. I don't know. It depends on a whole bunch of factors at the moment. But I am trying to work on getting stuff set. Really, I will say, flying an FS 2024 and taking in the autumn foliage is a beautiful thing. I mean, I also have Rex AccuSeason for FS 2020, so you do see the foliage, so I'm happy about that. But the trees in 2024 are obviously, a better representation of actual real trees. So there's that. Just say it whenever you're ready. Real life is awesome. Oh, I know, I know. I still remember however many years ago when I actually took my first flight in a Cessna. Like when I was up in the air, when I literally took off from the runway, it was just like, okay, I might be ruined for flight sims forever. It was amazing, unbelievably amazing. And I hope your new PC works out really well for you, friend. Religious moment, faux show. Like knowing you're literally taking your life in your hands in a in an airplane. Oh my gosh. Can you say white knuckle grip? because that's where I was. It's like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. It's like, and the CFI next to me, he's like, dude, relax. And I see him basically working on the trim, pressing on the rudder pedals, me going, ah! And him going, like, relax. You can fly this thing with a pinky finger. Like, just chill, enjoy it. And I just relaxed into it. Oh, yeah, maxed out detail. Oh, dude. It's a good moment. It's a good moment. Yes, yes, I look forward to that. I also look forward to enjoying the flight experience and being, not eating a heavy meal, not being incredibly nervous, just enjoying stuff. And yes, one of the things I will double check if I go up in the air, I will double check to make sure the cabin is adequately ventilated. I need airflow. I need to be properly prepared. Yes, yes. Being in the right state of mind, especially flying at a non-towered airport, that's highly crucial. Highly crucial. So yeah, yeah, for real, for real. Give me a bit. Just checking something. Wow, these days go whizzing by, man. Totally. Okay. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you. You know, I might even do some log some virtual hours doing actual GA flights in the sim. I got together with some folks and just had some fun with it, and the topic came up and we talked about it, and they're like, well, yeah, like there's so much you can do in terms of like scholarships and applying for like grants and getting the money to like go fly a plane. It's like I get it, but at the same time, it's like I'm redacted. I'm yeah, I'm gonna say it this way. I am redacted years old. I don't need to go absolutely bananas, but yeah, the opportunity is there. I get it. And that's great. That's great. I would imagine if we do go up in the air, you're not just gonna like pull up in the plane and it's ready to go. You might do a little pre-flight with me. Double check the mixture, double check the fuel, make sure the flight control surfaces are working. A little bit of like manual pull action on the elevators or the rudder just to make sure things work. I wouldn't even mind that, but one step at a time. Like getting actually up there in the first place. But I would like that. And like I get it. I get that life is it's challenging, but being able to overcome these challenges with God's help and with the support system that I have has just been an adventure. Wow, I didn't know you wanted to be an air traffic controller. Wow. I mean, you can probably still be an air traffic controller virtually uh, in VATSIM, or you could apply to be an air traffic controller on Pilot Edge, and you could potentially, I don't know how real this is, but you could possibly be paid for your time to be a virtual air traffic controller. The Pilot Edge network lets you control people that are enthusiasts and that are actual pilots that are practicing, because Pilot Edge is a paid service, and they're I've flown there before. Pilot Edge Network, you're held to a much higher standard. People are really expecting you to know your stuff, and if you do stuff wrong, you're gonna get a little reprimand for it, or a big reprimand. So it's even closer to reality in my book than VATSIM. Yeah, Yeah, and I think pilot is probably going to be the closest that people are going to get to a paid ATC gig that are past the requirements. I probably would not have been able to fly due to health restrictions, but I would probably still have have strived to get a pilot's license if I was younger. It's not possible for me to do it right now. It just requires a bunch of money and time. So if I'm gonna be a pilot of any kind, I need to get started. And to get started, I need money. I need money. So, not going to worry about it, but at the same time, that's the way things are. If somebody came up to me and said, "Tell me your life story," and then they said, "Put the other stuff away, I will literally pay for the next 5 years for you to be a corporate pilot," I'd be tempted to take it, to be type rated on a business jet and fly people around. But I don't know. I don't know. I think I'd have to, think that through. So I, it, it's, it's like that. Like it's something that I understand now in my maturity. You know, I'm not going to start flying a plane around unless I'm going to commit to the entire process over the course of a couple months to half a year. Like if I'm going for a pilot's license, I'm going to commit. I'm not going to do it half baked. It's going to be like if I'm going for the pilot's license, I'm going to try to get it as quickly as I can for as little money as possible. Now, it might not be compatible with certain CFIs in certain schools because they might want you to stick around, take longer, so they get more money. But if I'm going for it, I'm going for it. Until that day, I want to sit back and just understand what it is about the process that's going to make me want to do it. And there are ways to get a pilot's license where it's like if I'm not going for certain endorsements, I could probably get like a light sport rating or something. I don't know. I guess I'd have to figure that out on my own or for myself. But one step at a time. Exactly. Consistency. I need consistency. The attempt to get a pilot's license requires consistency. And I want to get enough ratings to fly, for example, at least a Pilatus PC-12. So, PPL rating, night rating, IFR rating, and then maybe go multi engine rating, which would then let me get type rated in a jet. But again, at that point, again, 2025 money, that's like I'm guessing upwards of 50 to $65,000 just on education costs alone. Light Sport is C-172. What? Okay, so I can fly a Skyhawk if I wanted to. Wow, that's dope. I'm kind of in trouble now. Dude, that's kind of cool. That is kind of cool. Um, yeah, I wasn't aware of some of those changes because I obviously wasn't paying attention, but that's actually pretty cool. Um, yeah. So, I mean, like working towards those goals is definitely, squad goals, so to speak. But at the same time, I don't want to underthink or overthink it. It's still going to require money. It's still going to require a good chunk of time. So it's definitely something that has to be thought through carefully. And family needs come first right now. Mrs. Digi's health, our future, whether or not we want to adopt a kid. That's all stuff that has to go in first. Like taking care of where we live, taking care of our parents. Um, I'll be straight up. Like, if I take care of my family and I get to do stuff like flight simming and I don't get a PPL, well, that might make me feel a little bit bad. I don't think I'm going to regret it nearly as much as getting a PPL, getting rated, being able to fly a plane like that whenever I want to, and then realizing, you know, people that I care about are in a position where I can't help them because I committed myself to doing something. Now, don't get it twisted. People have to care for themselves just like you do, but it's a part of who I am. Helping to care for others is cool. Yes, I need to care for myself too, but it's also something that makes me feel good. This isn't a need to be codependent, it's something that I feel is like a responsibility. At the same time, of course, if I don't if I neglect myself, then nothing's going to matter. That's actually pretty cool. And I mean, Twitch on the one hand is kind of part of the journey for me, but it's gourmet potato chip money right now. If I could somehow energize another stream of income to chip away at my debt, chip away at building up savings, being able to do certain things, I feel like that would be a good way to go. I mean, main salary right now is for the family, for making sure that all that stuff is cared for. So there's that. But at the same time, I I'm trying to figure out how to make it work. Yeah, I had to figure out how to get myself more physically stable to handle it. And for some people, physically stable means, you know, dealing with motion sickness. For some people, physically stable means being able to deal with or figuring out how to deal with other physical limitations. So yeah, put a white sports car there. I wanna do stuff like that. And by the way, I also want to do my best to try to help people around me. So, like, if you're a part of the Digi fam and you have questions, like if you ever wanted to find out about, for example, software development, or if you wanted an extra hand to help you do stuff like scenery dev, or I mean, I used to hang out with Seriously I'm a Pilot and pitch him ideas for like for his business too. So, like, for me, the thing that makes me smile is knowing that I spend time helping someone. It's not always possible, but at the same time, if I can do that for somebody, I I more often than not will. And if you want to learn more about what I do, or if you want an extra hand doing something, hit me up, talk to me here or afterwards, and we might be able to set something up. Yes, seriously. Seriously, his username. Seriously, I'm a pilot, and we talked. Now, these these things are difficult to plan for. Yeah, yeah. I think if I get back into consistent scenery dev streams, that opportunity is going to happen. Um, I spent a lot of the last year, flying and trucking and having fun with that. But of course, if I committed to the process of doing scenery dev again, it could turn into something very interesting in probably a relatively short period of time. I set up some stuff not that long ago that I haven't actually used. Actually, have the shell of a YouTube channel for scenery development. I guess I'd have to figure out what it is that I want to do first with it. So I have to figure out how to make it work. Where are the other cars? Yeah, I'll take you. Yeah. After this, I'm gonna, take a break and help Mrs. Digi get some stuff set up around the house. It's probably gonna be a low key weekend for us, which I'm looking forward to, and I think she's also gonna take the time to heal up. Um, Back to work for me, back to IRL software dev come next week, Yahweh permitting, and then we'll see, and we'll see what happens. Wow. Need like another car here, unless I just don't care. Commodore Chronicles, thanks so much for stopping in. Appreciate having you aboard. Love your soul. Have a great weekend and feel free to rest up. Let's see. Actually, been here for a bit doing scenery dev. This is cool. Certainly more time that I spent doing scenery dev than in the past several months. So it's nice to be back in the saddle. Let me move this line over. And okay, let me stop. So I've done this section and this portion. I'll probably try to see if I can do the middle island here and make some more dashed lines. This is probably the exit toll booth for the parking lot, so I might have to try to create one really quickly. And honestly, if I'm going to release this as freeware, I'm probably going to try to blitz design the objects. Maybe not worry about too much detail right now, just to get it done, and then decide if I want to do more with it, and maybe even try porting it to FS 2024. Although, like I said before, I'm probably going to try to start over there as well. I guess it depends. I guess it depends. I'm happy to know that I've actually gotten more done with this than in the past, 3 or 4 months. So I am happy about that. Now, we're going to create these lines here, and we're going to figure out how to make this work. So, save this again. And we'll duplicate this and move it over. Again. I like how I like how this actually works out when the lines are pretty similar. So, what lessons have I learned today? If you want to do something, get back to doing it and do what you can each day and don't obsess about what you can't do. Strive to finish what you start. Strive to keep going when you don't see the finish line in sight. And just keep grinding. Because that's more or less where I am right now. And I don't want to give up. I don't want to look at stuff and just be like, it doesn't matter. I like to watch, content on like, YouTube and other platforms. And YouTube tells you when something was originally posted. Like when you see a video you watch. I've been looking at videos that were between 11 to 16 years old. And when I look at that and I think about where I was or what I was doing, it just makes me stop and go, it's been that long since I initially watched it. Yeah, yeah, I would agree. Like just the scenery that gives you that huge hit of dopamine, and you're like I can't believe it. This is actually out there and it's being consumed by people. It's just like it's amazing. Um, that really is the point. Like getting to a place where you actually finish what you start. I get it, and that is part of my desire to finish places like this and to release KPYM for FS 2024 and just be like, hey, like this is actually out there now. And the dad jokes and the pilot mania. Oh, I'm happy to spam that every single time I'm there because it's a great tune, and I'm happy for the company. So let's see. That's not bad. That's not bad. Let's bring this in and bring this one in. And now what I need to do is actually build the dash lines, not the dash lines, the diagonal lines here, and probably the diagonal lines for this space as well. So let me make these lines, and we're going to do so by duplicating this line, moving it over, and we're going to create an N group and the necessary portions. So we're going to make an N group 1 for this group, and save the work, stretch the lines accordingly. For me also, the knowing the amount of detail that I'm putting into this right now, that's kind of like my signature. Making sure that it's evident that I didn't just like slap bitmaps on the ground and call it a day. Like the level of effort here is necessary. It's my drive. It's required. So move this into here and now zoom in like crazy close. Somebody's gonna be like looking at the textures this close and being like, are they good? Are they good? Somebody might. That's what makes me laugh. Some of us are that picky, and I know I'm picky about my own progress. It's okay. It's okay. I wanna I want to finish what I start, and I also want to do well and do enough to understand. Hey, I want to be known as somebody that actually does well. SU4, nice. All right, let's see. I think this is going to be the build. So we'll take that, and now we're just going to start sliding these up. Yes. Maybe I should have titled this stream Parking Lot Painter Simulator. But we got a good chunk of stuff done. When I am deving quietly, I think I tend not to go on as much. Um, Although I think in the beginning, when I was going absolute ham on Plymouth, for example, I spent, I think, a couple of hours each night quietly building scenery. I'm not sure if I'm going to get back to that each day because of, engagements and requirements, but you never know. That might be where I'm going again. Quietly deving and grinding and just like getting this stuff done as expediently as possible. Okay. Sheesh. Not bad, not bad. Let's save it. Let's go ahead and grab some more vehicles and stick them over there. Maybe another red sports car. Do I not have a black sports car? There we go. There's one. Okay, so now I'm basically filling in the gaps. There's still one more spot that I need to fill in, so I haven't forgotten about it yet. All right. And we need to think like two more vehicles. So I'll get like some really small ones, smaller than that car. I think there's like a black mini car right about here. And we're going to take this one and move it over. So we'll fill in the gaps. Oof, it's like a tiny car. And we need another car. Maybe a. Maybe I'll move this one over a little bit. Just notice the angle. Oh, no, that's fine. Oh, it's because of the distance rendering. I get it. I'll take you then. But I guess that's the funny part of what I'm doing right now. Like how seemingly doing nothing while you're just like cranking away. Then you stop and you're like, oh, I built all that today. Cool. That's the goal, I think, to just keep grinding. And let's go ahead and put that there. Where are we? Yeah, it's a good line. Good line. Now what I need to do is create the lines for these segments. So we shall do so. Duplicate this line, move it up, and stretch it. Um, I think I'll just I think I'll just make this a really thick line. For now at least. Oh, look at that, I missed a line. That's weird. That's better. Yeah, I think I might call it soon because I'm happy to be getting back into scenery dev, but I don't want to cook myself because it's just like, oh yeah, we can do all the things. Slowing down is very important. But I think I'll try to get these done before I'm done for today. So let's make another end group. If I can find where I put it. Did I make an end group? I did. All right. So we're going to duplicate this end group and we're going to strip these out accordingly. Um, Leave that group there and duplicate that on the other side. Okay. Is it perfect? Not at all. Who cares about perfect right now? I don't. I gotta do what I can. I can only do what I can. So, we're gonna get rid of this line because we won't need it. And ditto for this line. And now we're gonna start pushing these into place. Okay. Over here is probably going to be fine. And now we can get rid of these lines. Put them into place. Do I want them to go around the thing? I don't necessarily know if I do. I might just be content with that. That's not bad. It's working. It's working. Mm. That'll do. Okay. Save that. Bring the line up. This turned out to be a pretty nice return to scenery dev. And I think eventually, as we start dealing with getting the terminal rendered for Lafayette Regional, then we're going to lock horns again with Blender and the continuing saga of developing an interior or building something which is going to be, the terminal for the sim and getting the jetways to line up and all that stuff. So, adventure is coming. That's for sure. It's like, do you want this as a full-time career, Digi? I want this. I don't know a clue about making this work from a business perspective. I thought I had a clue. I don't. I think I'd like to keep going. But of course, that requires cash flow. Um, requires income, requires the ability to actually make something out of something, which I need. Nowhere near as afraid as I was. I just know it's going to take time. Am I going to be doing a whole bunch of other things in the meantime? Probably not. And I'm okay with that because scenery development is a pretty brain consuming thing. I can only speak for myself. but I can say it's definitely a task. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. 2, 3, copy 3, move it over, and now we're gonna fill this section in to the best we can. Hmm? Go to 4, group 4. This I think I will most likely call it for today, unless I feel like continuing to do stuff on stream, or unless Mrs. Digi is so committed to what she's up to right now that she's like, nope, I'm not done yet. Go ahead and keep going. I'll let you know when I'm ready. Always a distinct possibility. Okay, good, good. This is good enough. Definitely good enough. We'll take this line, stick it across the top, and good, good, good. Make a slightly smaller line. Going for broke. Emmerich, hello. It's been a while, my friend. Happy to have you aboard. It's going good. It's going good. I've had some time off IRL job to care for Mrs. Digi. She had some medical work done recently. She is on the mend. She'll be on the mend for some time, but we got to spend time getting those things taken care of, and I am back to building scenery. I'm trying to finish a project that I started a long time ago, which is Lafayette Regional, Kilo Lima Foxtrot Tango in Louisiana in the US. And I am getting back into the process. There are a lot of things to be done still, but it's not impossible. It just takes plenty of patience. I hope you're very well, friend. It's good to see you. So, yes, that's great news. I have been spending more time in FS 2024 lately, getting to know the new sim. I installed a lot of the base content and world updates in everything short of the aircraft themselves, and I might actually start installing the aircraft as well since I have a couple hundred gigs of space left. So that will hopefully help my performance. And honestly, that might actually explain the frame rate drop when I'm flying the default 737 MAX 8. So I might actually experiment with that soon to see if that actually improves my frame rate. I'm still on the same PC, so I'm not expecting it to be really, really, really fast. but we'll see what happens. I can get away with flying the A320 Neo and getting decent performance, but I think as we start to tackle higher and higher VRAM counts or graphics cards, I think my old graphics card is going to be pushed out of the way in terms of performance because there's going to be so much loaded in. I'm going to have to figure out how to make the most of it, I guess is what I'm saying. Or get a new PC because mine's going to be about 5 years old, 4 years old, and I'm going to need to actually get something more performant. At least try to figure out how to put a 4080 in my rig. I think I have an 800-watt power supply brick. So I guess I'd have to figure out how to make a 40 series card work because I have a 3060 Ti right now. Okay, okay, understood, understood. I mean, even my streaming took a different direction earlier this year because I spent so much time in Euro Truck Sim 2 and back in American Truck Sim. So I spent a good chunk of time away from, definitely spent a good chunk of time away from scenery dev, but even from doing flights for fun, I spent some time away from that. Now I'm back to flying, and now I'm even back to doing scenery dev. So I'm hopeful that this will turn into something beneficial very soon. I'm doing a build. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. If you can't hear me, say something. I like saying stuff like that, dad jokes. I think I've got over 65 to 70% of the parking lot lines drawn in now. So, what's next, what has to be done is that I need to start figuring out how to get the covered walkways built and rendered. I'm probably going to do some good old blitz development like I used to with an FS 2020 window open and Blender open and see how far I can get. And then I'll be able to get those walkways built, and then we'll get that done. So I've gotten lines done all over here, over here. Actually, we're closer to like about 55%. But once I get these lines rendered and these lines rendered, then we could we could be that much closer to actually getting everything done. And I still have to render the new terminal, which is here in the jetways and the new GA area, and add some extra filters for, you know, um, dirty concrete slabs and all that stuff. I don't know how much detail I want to go for, so I'm gonna have to figure it out myself. But I know I've gotten this much built so far in terms of the actual runways and the taxiways, the new taxiway, which is here, the old taxiway, which is here, and the runway runoff areas, which I may or may not make into 3D objects. I still haven't decided. There's also plenty of taxiways and other things, other buildings. It's not a small airport, that's for sure. I mean, it's also not as large as, say, Amsterdam Schiphol, or as large as, like, say, I don't know, Portland or Spokane, but it's not small. It's not small. And this taxiway, this one right here, that didn't exist. This is a new taxiway that's been added into Navigraph charts. I also probably need to come back and finish doing some things like maybe setting up the ILS tower, if there is one, which I think there is, and also adding a few more details. Like these lakes, for example, they weren't there before, and it's probably easier to show with a developer camera. So this could be like a runoff area, and I might even try to figure out how to lift that up, but I don't know. I don't know. It depends. The other lakes that I was talking about are over here. So this existed. This was just a normal relief, like a normal lake, but certain trees weren't added in. And I think this lake didn't exist either, so I added it so you can actually see, waves and stuff. And then I added another lake here. And I like working on water features because they really just add to the overall experience of being at the actual airport. Personally, I think this is like very therapeutic to me. I still got more to cover. I might add more stuff here. Thank you so much, my friend. That makes me want to keep going. Like, I don't care if I get a dime from anybody. When somebody says, hey, man, great job, that's the boost of confidence that makes me feel happy. I might boost these rivers a little bit, and I try to work really, really hard on getting these landing lights to be where these areas were, but the spacing, it just goes bad one way or another. So it's hard to nail it down. It really is hard to nail it down. But I want to finish this because I don't want to let people down. I don't care if this gets finished next year. I want to finish it. I don't want to let people down. I don't want to let myself down. I really do feel like it's something that I want to do to finish and to finish well. I want to do that. So it's not even it's not about making money. Like, I want to get this done so people can actually have this to fly into and out of. Now, if it does well, or if I get more support from people, hey, great. Let's do this then as something that I can do as a side gig or maybe a full time gig. And I mean, I've already learned so much in the past, several years that I've been using Blender. So I want to keep going. In terms of SDK stuff, I added deliberate patches of new asphalt. I added markings for, landing gear. I I deliberately added textures or different textures to the runway so that you could see that the runway has some depth, or not depth, just different texturing and additional layers. So when you touch down at KLFT, you'll know a lot of people have touched down here also. So I want to finish this. I do. It's going to take me some time, but I want to finish it. To my friends that have just begun to see this project, and to the people that have actually been here before and want to see something better, I want to finish it for them. It's also nice to know that I can jump into FS 2020 and still do stuff. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, there's always going to be the temptation to just want to keep tweaking and tweaking and tweaking stuff, but I can get to a point where I'm done and make that version 2 work, if that is the case. And this scenery should be 100% FS 2024 compatible as well. So you should just be able to drop it into the community folder for 2024 and you should be fine. But building the parking lot, man, and then eventually getting the signs and getting the awnings and getting the entrance nailed down to the terminal. Those are things that I want to do. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take plenty of it. But I hope that I can do a good enough job to justify, not just justify my time, but justify anybody that's actually been waiting for this to come out and really, really hoping for a finished version. Um, yeah. What time is it? It's almost 5:30. I'm probably gonna check with Mrs. Digi and see how she is. 2 hours for a stream. That's great. 2 hours for a scenery dev stream is unbelievable. Because if I do these streams at night during the week, they're usually, a half an hour to like an hour at best. And I'm usually just quiet and cranking. But if I take more time, but I'm more motivated to work on stuff like this when I'm around people, maybe that's the way I might want to consider doing it in the near future. On a weeknight basis though, it's probably going to be quiet, like quiet dev, so that I can do that from my desk while Mrs. DG and the pets are just chilling out. Oh, I missed a vehicle. Hold on. Hold on. I gotta fix it. I gotta fix it. It's not a one to one of where every vehicle is parked, but especially here, I want to make sure I put something in. So let me take, do we have a white SUV somewhere? Yes. Take this one. Boop. All right. And I'm also looking forward to seeing what happens with FS 2024 scenery dev. I'm happy that I installed an updated SDK for 2024 and that it didn't break my ability to keep doing work in 2020 because that's what happened at the beginning. And now I think I'm good. Okay, I'm gonna save the scenery and probably build this one offline. Tonight is gonna be my friends coming on stream and me probably hanging out with them. Is Dev different in FS 2024? Yes, it is. At least I released. You want to know what? I'm gonna be a goofball for a moment. Flight Sim 2024 released November 19th. By Christmas Eve, I had my first FS 2024 scenery. I remade Higginsville Industrial Municipal Airport and I released it on FlightSim.to. So I'm DigiDriver there and I re-released Higginsville KHIG specifically for FS 2024. It was like the fastest scenery dev I ever did for a complete project, and I'm still happy that I did that. That was a challenge that I took up, and I was like, I'm gonna do this. And then I actually got it done, and I was really happy. It was raw back then because I couldn't build taxiway signs because they didn't exist. Um, and for some reason, I think this is still the case now. You might not be able to undo or to do some of the clicks that you're used to doing with this SDK and FS 2020. I'm going to be curious about it because I'm going to work on KRCM and probably work on some other sceneries so that I can actually see whether or not the experience has changed. If the experience hasn't changed, I'm going to have to be very careful about clicking on things and I'm going to take more time doing it. If the experience has changed for the better, then FS 2024 Scenery Dev is going to be nicer. Now, am I still going to have to figure out how to import stuff to FS 2024? Of course. Will exporting stuff from Blender to FS 2024 be different than exporting to 2020? I don't think so. I think it's more or less the same. It's just that the version of Blender that I use to do so, I think is going to be 3.1. 3.1.3 is what I have installed. I also have, I think, version 3.6 and 4.2. So I have to spend time reacclimating myself to Blender because it's been a long time since I messed with it. But one of the things that's going to be particularly important with 2024 is working with levels of detail. So I still haven't decided whether or not I'm going to tackle that and how I'm going to do it. It's going to take a little bit of time. For now, I'm happy that I got as much stuff done with painted lines as I did. I'm going to work on this segment and this segment next, and then eventually wrap up with this piece here. And then once I'm done with lines in here. I'll probably do the road markings for the airport and probably start working on the terminal and everything else that has to happen. I don't know how to, what the cargo terminal is going to look like, so I might need to depend on my Twitch DigiFam and Discord DigiFam to help get me some pictures of the way the airport looks now. I can also use the updated Bing imagery to see what this is going to look like. I think it's either here or here. There's probably like another airport rental car thing aside the airport. I want to say that it is here. And then there's something else that they put here. This used to be what the terminal was. They moved it over here. This, I think, is the cargo ramp, or the cargo ramp moved over. I don't think it moved over. I think the cargo ramp stayed here, and the terminal is now here. So, again, there's more stuff for me to do. So, stay tuned. I will see how everything works out. I'm kind of getting hungry, so I'm probably going to eat something now and then figure out what the rest of the evening is going to bring. I want to try to get back to being way more consistent with scenery dev, and we'll see what happens. Now, I've made it a point not to be too pitchy on my streams. So I only do this literally once every stream. But there's a few ways that you can help if you want to be involved and you want to contribute to the scenery development process. One way is to, if you consider becoming a subscriber to my Twitch channel, which does bring in a little bit of income to help with expenses and shows support and gives me motivation to continue. There's also a few ways you can contribute outside of the Twitch fold. One is through my Buy Me a Coffee account. Those definitely go into helping me pay bills and such. And another one, what I call the straight through approach, is leaving a tip that goes right in and basically helps me with day to day expenses. None of this is required. Absolutely none of it is if you don't have the funds. I appreciate you engaging in chat and also saying hello or just even lurking. Like, lurkers play a part as well. Now, if you chat, that's obviously a bit more of a boost to, channel engagement and stuff like that. Well, thank you, friend. I certainly appreciate even a penny, just a nod to, the support. It's certainly not required, but it's always appreciated. I I usually set up a message before I start streaming, and I do try to post up on Twitch when I'm going to be streaming soon. Usual schedule. I try to stream once a week. It's usually closer to the weekend, but again, given this phase is coming back into it's coming back into the darker or the colder months, I'm going to try to do more scenery dev on a regular basis overnight for some people, like my friends overseas and in Europe, but it's going to be once a day, 3 to 5 times a week, hopefully, for development during the week. Quiet streams, half an hour to like an hour or something at a clip. And again, appreciate everybody that can make it out. If you're busy or if you don't like quiet streams, I get it. I get it. And there's so many talented people on Twitch that actually do talk and do other stuff and play other games. You know, I'm not offended. But I'm going to try to make a push for at least once or twice weekly quiet dev streams during the week, and then talky or flyy or drivey streams on the weekends whenever I can. Stay tuned to Discord for schedule. And if you are not on my Discord and you'd like to be, stand by and I will put up my Discord link if you want to join. Basically, I talk about life, I talk about flight sim, I talk about um, scenery development here. So, definitely, definitely stand by. I'll give you guys the link, and that way you can stay informed. All right, copying the link and putting it in Twitch chat now. Bingo. So, we talk about life. I talk about my faith in Jesus Christ there. I talk about flight sim. I talk about trucking. I talk about retro gaming. I talk about food. So feel free. It's a kind of like, you know, not always advertised Discord joiny thingy. So if and when you can, I appreciate the company. So, um, that's about it. That's about it. I'm going to get up, use my legs for a while, snack on something, maybe eat some cereal, maybe make some dinner, and then transition into the weekend. Since I streamed yesterday and I streamed today, there is a chance that I might not be streaming tomorrow or Sunday. But again, I'm going to do my level set best to get to doing dev streams. You hope it worked. Let me double check. Stand by, my friend. Thank you so much. I definitely got the notification. Oh man, thank you, thank you. It does go to it definitely goes towards helping to keep the DigiFam going financially. It really is appreciated, folks. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you so much for being a part of today's stream. Um, Thank you so much, and look forward to some more dev streams like this in future. There are a lot of projects that I've neglected that I need to get back to, and it might surprise you where some of them are. And I hope, I really do hope to get back to a good spot and just keep going with stuff like this. So again, thanks for your time. Thank you, everybody. Love you, like love your souls, and like I like to say at the end of every stream, if you want true peace, you want the Prince of Peace, and that's Jesus Christ. Stay tuned for more. Tune in on Discord, and until next time, my friends, we will see you. Take care.